10 exercises that can improve shuffling gait. Do you shuffle when you walk? A lot of people have this problem. They don't lift their feet high enough, or they're walking with their feet too wide apart. Hi, my name is Doug. I've been a physical therapist for 30 years, and I specialize in balance problems and helping people learn to walk again. In this video, I'm going to show you exercises that are the best at helping people get rid of shuffling when they walk. You want to put your feet in the heel to toe position. That's where the foot that's in front has the heel touching the toe of the foot that's behind. Then you want to let go of the countertop and try to balance yourself and stand without holding for as long as possible. The goal of this exercise is to stand with the right leg forward for 20 seconds 3 times in a row without holding on, and then do the same thing on the left leg, 20 seconds 3 times in a row without holding on. Now when you first start, you might find that you're grabbing the countertop pretty quickly. It might just be 1 or 2 seconds before you have to grab onto the countertop to steady yourself. Don't give up. A lot of people take a long time and a lot of practice of this before they get better. You might have to practice this for weeks before you can build up to even 10 seconds without holding on. So every time you grab back on the countertop, you just want to switch which leg is forward. To do pillow squats, you need a sturdy and safe chair. If it has armrests, that makes it even easier, but it doesn't have to. You also need 1 or 2 pillows. If you find that you're very weak and standing up from a chair is extremely difficult for you without holding onto the chair, I suggest starting with 2 pillows. The way you want to do the exercise is without holding on, try to stand up and sit back down on the pillows. You don't want to do this too quickly, and you don't want to bounce when you come down. So you want to stand up and then sit down gently on the pillows. The goal of this exercise is to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions, resting about 1 minute between each set. A lot of people are not going to be able to do this exercise without pushing with their hands, and that's fine. In the beginning, it's fine if you have to push your hands on the seat of the chair or on the armrest to help yourself stand up. What's important is that over time, you use your hands less and less. Over time, the goal is to do this without holding on at all. You can even cross your hands over your chest to keep you from using your hands on the armrests. What's really important is trying to do this for 3 sets of 10 repetitions. In standing, with your hands on something like a countertop or the back of a chair, you want to lift your leg up in the air. Now your goal for doing this is to do 3 sets of 20 repetitions. But in the beginning, most people find that they can only do 5 to 8 repetitions. It's a hard exercise. You want to lift your leg up, holding it up for about 1 second, and then bring it back down to the ground, and then lift the other leg up. So you want to alternate right leg, left leg. Over time, over the course of doing this every single day for a few weeks, you want to build up to doing 3 sets of 20 repetitions. To do this exercise, you're going to need 2 things. You want to have something to hold on to steady yourself, and you also need a step. I use an aerobic step that I purchased from the store, but you can use anything that's sturdy. You can use a single block of wood that's about 3 inches tall, a piece of concrete. You can even use a stair inside your house as long as it's not too tall. I would recommend that your step be at least 3 inches, but at the maximum it should be 6 inches tall. Now to do this exercise, you want to grab onto something to hold on to, and then step up on your right leg, bringing your left leg up on the step as well. Then you want to step backwards with the right leg till you're back on the ground. You want to repeat that 10 times on each leg. The goal of this exercise is to step onto the right leg 10 times and then to the left leg 10 times without holding the rail. But in the beginning, you're definitely going to be holding the rail, and you might not even be doing 10 steps. It's perfectly okay just to do 1 or 2 steps in the beginning if it's really fatiguing. You can also use the rail to steady yourself and even help yourself get up onto the step. This is a great exercise that will improve your strength and your balance. So don't feel bad if you have to hold on for the first few times that you do the exercise. What's important is that you work towards letting go completely. What we want is for you to be able to walk up on top of a step without holding anything. Just have your hand nearby the rail just in case you lose your balance. To do tapping on a step safely, you're going to need two things. One is you need something to tap. It could be a piece of tape on the floor, or it could be an aerobic step or anything that is easy for you to tap. The other thing is you're going to need one or two things to hold on to. You can use the back of two chairs. You can use a countertop in a chair. I recommend having something on your right and your left when you do this exercise. Now, to do the exercise, you want to tap your foot forward onto the object, just tapping your foot. So tap your right foot, then tap your left foot. You're not putting any pressure on the thing you're tapping onto. So you're just standing, lifting one leg off the ground, bringing it forward, tapping it, then putting that foot down and going onto the other leg. So you're going to go right leg tap, left leg tap, right leg tap, left leg tap. The goal of this exercise is to do it 20 times on each leg without holding on. But in the beginning, you're going to need to hold on. You might find that you're losing your balance the entire time. That's okay. Hold on if you need to the first few times that you do it. But what you want to try to do is let go when you're doing the tap. This exercise is not really beneficial if you're holding on the whole time because you're not going to shift your weight. The purpose of these exercises is to teach you to shift your weight over the leg you're standing on. That's going to help your walking and improve your balance. So you want to be letting go while you're shifting to the right and tapping your left foot, letting go while you're shifting to the left and tapping your right foot. But it's okay if occasionally you grab onto the chairs to steady yourself. You don't want to fall while you're doing this exercise. You want to keep practicing this every day until you can get good enough to reach your goal. To do heel-to-toe walking, you want to have one hand on a countertop. Then you're going to walk heel-to-toe, which means walk so that the heel of the foot that's forward touches the toe of the foot that's behind. So it looks like you're walking on a tightrope. Now, some people find that it's easier to have a tape line or some kind of mark on the ground to walk along to help them walk heel to toe, but you don't have to have that. You can simply walk with your heel of the forward foot touching the toe of the backward foot. The goal of this exercise is to walk 3 to 4 steps in each direction without holding the countertop, repeating that 3 times. So walking heel to toe in one direction, 3 steps, turn around the other direction, repeating that process 3 times without holding the countertop. Now in the beginning, you're probably going to be holding the countertop the entire time, and that's fine. That's how we regain our balance. We challenge ourselves. What you want to do is, after you get some confidence, is start to let go of the countertop occasionally. Then try to let go of the countertop more and more. Maybe as you take each step, try to let go and only grab on if you lose your balance. You need to struggle to do this without holding the countertop at all, but you have to progress to that. So it's perfectly fine if you touch the countertop in the beginning, but the more you practice it, the more you should be letting go. To do this exercise, you want to be standing and holding onto the countertop. And what you're going to do is raise up like you're raising up onto your toes. Some people call it raising on their tippy toes. You want to rise up, stand on your toes for 1 or 2 seconds, and then come back down to the ground. You want to repeat this 10 times in a row. So the goal of this exercise is to be able to do it 3 sets of 10 reps. That means doing it 10 times, then pausing for about a minute, then doing it 10 more times, then pausing for a minute and doing it 10 times. 3 sets of 10. But it's perfectly fine when you begin this exercise just to do a few repetitions. A lot of people are going to try this and find that they can only go up and down maybe 1 or 2 times. That's fine. Do 3 sets of 1 or 2 times. What you want to try to do is build up. Each time you do the exercise, try to do 1 more repetition or 2 more repetitions. The goal is 3 sets of 10, but it may take you a few weeks to reach that goal. With one hand on the countertop, you're simply going to walk backwards. This just means walking like you normally do forward, 1 foot in front of the other, but you're only going to be moving backwards. You should only go 2 to 3 steps because you don't want to get away from your countertop. After you go 2 to 3 steps, you're going to turn around and walk in the other direction 2 to 3 steps with your hand on the countertop. Now, the goal of this exercise is to walk 2 to 3 steps in both directions, repeating that 3 times without holding the countertop. But in the beginning, you're going to find that you're going to have to grab the countertop every so often. In fact, the first few times you do this, you may be holding the countertop the entire time. Over time, your balance will get better and you can let go of the countertop more and more. You want to work towards the goal of being able to let go of the countertop the entire time that you're walking backwards. With both hands on the countertop, you want to shift your weight over one leg, lifting the other leg off the ground, and then try to let go of the countertop, balancing for as long as you can. So you want to do the right leg and then shift over to the left leg. And you keep repeating it. The goal of this exercise is to do it for 20 seconds on each leg 3 times in a row. So that means standing on the right leg for 20 seconds, repeating that 3 times without holding the countertop, and then do it on the left leg 3 times for 20 seconds without holding the countertop. In the beginning, you're going to be holding the countertop quite a bit. In fact, most people when they do this exercise find that they can only stand for 1 second, maybe not even a full second, before they have to grab back on. Don't let that discourage you. Most people have trouble with this exercise. The reason they have trouble is because they're not fully shifting their weight over the leg they're standing on. If you find that you can't do this for even 1 second, I'm almost positive it's because you're not shifting your weight. So what you want to do is grab the countertop with both hands and fully shift your weight over one leg. You should feel balanced when you do this. When you fully shift, you're going to get to a place where you feel that it's a little bit easier to stand there. That's when you want to let go of the countertop and try to maintain that position. Now, to do this exercise, you're going to need 2 things. One is a step, and the other is something to hold on to that's sturdy. I'm using an aerobic step and a countertop. But if you want, you can use a stair in your home as long as there's a rail next to the stairs for you to grab onto. What you want to do is stand on the step facing down. Then you want to step forward with one leg, putting your foot on the ground, and then bring the other leg onto the ground. So you're stepping down onto the right leg first, then backward step back up onto the step with the same leg. So step down with the right, and then step backwards up on the right. Your goal with this exercise is to repeat it 10 times on each leg. So 10 times you're going to step down on the right leg and back up, and then 10 times on the left leg, down and up. You want to do this as a goal without holding on. But in the beginning, this is a difficult exercise. It's especially hard to step backwards up onto a step. It takes a lot of strength. So it's fine to grab onto the rail when you practice it. It's also important, if you're struggling, to use the lowest step possible. For some people, 3 inches is the most they can step up without having too much trouble or without having to grab onto the rail. It's better to do this on a lower step in the beginning so that you can do it repeatedly as you build your strength. Then as you get stronger, you can progress to a taller step. The goal again is to use a 6-inch step and be able to step up and down 10 times with each leg leading. Patients of mine that have Parkinson's disease have a number of different problems. The biggest thing is they've lost their proprioception. Unfortunately, whenever you have a disease that affects the cerebellum, it affects your proprioception. So people with Parkinson's often have trouble knowing where their arms and legs are in space. And this is one of the main reasons that they have ataxia and have difficulty with their walking and their movement. But another problem is just control of their movement. And that's another feature of Parkinson's, is that it really affects how fast you can move and the degree in which you can move your arms and legs. So after reviewing all of the research on Parkinson's, the most effective way to regain these abilities is to use balance challenging activities. Things like standing on one leg or resisting a fall or walking backwards, those are the best ways to improve your proprioception and to improve your movement. There's something very interesting about Parkinson's that you may not know. A lot of the research has looked at whether or not someone with Parkinson's can really regain the ability to balance. And what the research has shown is that they can, but it uses a different methodology than people normally use to balance themselves. So normally, when we learn to do activity, after a while, it becomes instinct, it becomes innate. We don't think about walking. We don't think about walking over something or lifting our leg to step through a doorway or even how to grab onto something. We just do it. So after a while, it becomes very much reflexive or autonomic. What they think is with Parkinson's that you can learn something that's called cognitive balance. Cognitive balance is when you actually think about each step, and in doing that, you actually circumvent a lot of the problems with Parkinson's. So a lot of people with Parkinson's have a lot of problems when they walk where they shuffle, or sometimes they might even freeze. And one way they can overcome that is for their family member or even themselves telling themselves, lift my leg up higher, or try to pretend that I'm stepping over something, and suddenly they can move forward no problem. What they're doing is they're going from the autonomic way of walking, which is where the shuffling is, to the cognitive way of walking, where they consciously think about lifting their leg up high and stepping over something. In doing that, they actually bypass the problems of Parkinson's. So by practicing balance challenging activities, things that are highly difficult like walking backwards or stepping backwards onto a step, you can actually develop cognitive balance, which in many studies has been shown to be the best way that someone with Parkinson's can maintain their ability to walk for a lot longer than someone who doesn't practice this. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. If you would like to find a trainer or physical therapist that can do this type of rehabilitation, please direct them to my website, www.proprioceptiverehab.com. This website has links to courses that I've designed for physical therapists and for trainers to help them learn these techniques.